after its initial release in Japan, Persona 5 Strikers recently came out here in the West. As a huge Mega 10 fan, I was excited to see what this game was about. These games tend to be the turn-based combat games, so whenever Atlas tries to do something new with this franchise, I'm always excited to see where they will go with these established characters. So, I was excited to see what the Mega 10 formula could bring to a Muso type game. So, when I played Persona 5 Strikers, I was really happy to see that this spin-off feels more of like an actual sequel to Persona 5. Let me explain. The combat is more of a hack and slash game where you get the moveset from Persona 5, just now in a action game, and I thought it was really fun. Even though it's not a groundbreaking combat system, nor being like Devil May Cry level of deep, it's still a fun combat system consisting of like different combos, different playstyle from each party member that you get, and it also has like a lot of environmental attacks, I think they're called. If you played a Persona game before, you'll probably be familiar with this combat since it's still all about like exploiting other enemies' weaknesses and all that stuff. The story is also really good. Like, usually Persona spin-off usually tend to tell their story with like a visual novel type of storytelling, I guess you can call it that. But since it tells in Persona 5 Strikers, it tells its stories more of like a mainline Persona game would, I got the feeling of actually being like, oh shit, this is an actual sequel more than like a canon spin-off. Like, the story takes place a few months after the original Persona 5, and it's about Joker and his fellow Phantom Thieves now traveling across Japan to change the hearts of corrupted people. And having a game that revolves around a road trip, especially right now in 2021, it's just a really good plot since you can't really go anywhere right now. Even though it kind of follows in the footsteps of the original Persona 5, where if you've beaten P5, you probably go, oh, so that's that part, and that part, and that part. It still feels more of like a logical continuation of the original story, rather than just being a fanservice spin-off. The returning cast is still great, and the new additions such as Sophia and Zenkichi are all welcoming additions to the Persona 5 cast. But we also need to talk about the music. Like, you cannot talk about a Persona game without talking about its soundtrack. And this one? Yeah, it's pretty good. It has those Persona vibes from the original Persona 5, but it also has its own style to it that really fits this action-oriented combat really well. The remixes of the original Persona 5 songs are really great. Like, especially enjoy like the Last Surprise remix, the Rivers in the Desert one, Blooming Villain. But his original songs are also so really good. Like, the new battle themes are great, the overall themes are catchy, the freaking shop theme is low-key a banger. And there is also a moment, which I won't spoil, but I'll just put up these two out of context pictures right here, so people who know will know exactly what I talk about. Now, I have a few gripes with the game. Like, I guess this game was developed like at the same time as Persona 5 Royal, which means that some of the character development from Royal is just gone here. Like, it's not a major problem with the story, but it just kinda sticks out a bit if you played Royal. And another gripe, what happened to the audio mixing? Like, sometimes when you're in a fight, I'm looking at you, boss battles. The character sometimes says something that you kinda can't hear. And this also goes out to some of like the dialogue in the game in general, where sometimes the voice just sort of gets drowned out by the music, and even though it's not like a reoccurring problem, it sticks out when it happens. But another thing this game also introduces to Persona 5, a PC and Switch release. So if you haven't played Persona before, can you start with Strikers? Well, yeah, you can. Like, the game gives you a good enough introduction to like learn about all these characters. But can I recommend it? No. If you have a PS4, or a PS5 if you're lucky, I can definitely recommend picking up Persona 5 Royal and playing that one first. So, Persona 5 Strikers is definitely what I wanted from an action semi-sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. The gameplay is fun, the soundtrack is amazing, and if you're going to love these characters, this reunion will probably not disappoint you. Oh yeah, and one more thing. if you're playing on PlayStation and thinking about platinum it, don't do it. Like, it's not a hard platinum trophy, but like the quickest way to get the last trophy is just defeating the same boss over and over again on Merciless, and it's gonna cost you a few hours. So here's my proof that I've actually done it, which means that I can tell you, just beat it.